Hello everyone. Today we have a question about child marriage. It says, in your Mother's Day video you revealed that your mother was a child bride. Can you please give your opinion on Oklahoma's recent debates about child marriage? So for those who are unaware, back in March the House had quite a debate about child marriage. The law as proposed simply took the statute that we currently have as far as who is eligible to enter into the contract of marriage, and they were attempting to delete the language allowing for children to be signed into marriage. Currently, children over the age of 16 can be signed into a marriage contract by a parent, and children under that age can be signed into a marriage contract by court order. There is currently no minimum age for child marriage with a court order. The stipulations are that the court can grant it if a pregnancy or a birth has occurred. As we probably all know, there are children as young as 9 who have had children. So potentially we're talking very young children that could be bound by a marriage contract. And aside from the sociological and psychological issues that can create for those victims of child marriage, from a law, the standpoint of someone who is law trained, this is a legal issue. No other contract is enforceable upon minors. My daughter, for example, is an actress. If I sign an employment contract on her behalf, when she turns 18, she will have to renegotiate that contract. She is not bound by that contract once she is no longer a minor. I do not have the right to make contracts for her that are enforceable into her adulthood, because once she then has agency, she has the right to do that herself. Unfortunately, that is not true with marriage contracts, and marriage contracts are even more serious. They determine your status as far as your own autonomy. There are certain things that are not considered rape or abuse if it happens within a marriage. These contracts are often used to cover abuse. As I said, we're talking about very often about children who have been sexually abused and that resulted in a pregnancy. I have worked with multiple victims of child marriage in my career. I know people like to think that these are, 17-year-olds marrying their high school sweetheart, but quite often it is not the case. And if that is the case, there is no harm in them waiting until they turn 18 and can understand the ways in which their rights and their property is affected, because that is something that's important for everyone to know, and we shouldn't be able to sign over those things on behalf of our children. And quite frankly, when it comes to, there was a lot of talk about, well, what about parents' rights? Parents who are well-meaning, I think if they truly understood the way that their children's rights and protections would be affected, would not be wanting to sign their children into that contract, and would instead prefer for them to wait until they are of adulthood and can negotiate that contract themselves. It is a legal contract. Now, what eventually happened was the final draft. There were some amendments made to where the draft would no longer legalize marriage under 16. So not even with a court approval, and then 16 and 17-year-olds would be able to get married with parental permission and court approval. This was passed to the judiciary, and according to the bill search, nothing happened with it after that. So not sure where that will end up. However, I am absolutely certain that I am appalled that my representative voted to keep child marriage legal, not only in the first draft where it would restrict all child marriage, but she voted against the second draft, which would restrict child marriage for anybody under the age of 15. I cannot imagine being able to look myself in the mirror after saying that I think it is okay to give away the property rights of children, or that to reduce their protections under the law. And I am quite frankly disturbed that my representative did such a thing. And, you know, the value of, you know, 16 and 17-year-olds being able to marry is open for debate, and I'm perfectly willing to listen to people's opinions on that. But the bottom line is she wasn't even voting on that. She was voting against giving protections to our children under the age of 15. And as the child of a child bride, I find that absolutely appalling and disturbing, and something that we all need to think about. She ran on a family values platform, and I mean, that is certainly not the values of my family. We have definitely learned from the mistakes of past generations, and it's not the values of any family, of any of my friends or loved ones that I'm aware of. So I think we need to hold her accountable and to really think about that as a community and how we can protect our children. So thank you, and keep sending in your questions.